Well, hello there, and welcome to week 10 of Professional Edge. It is a busy week. You've got a couple things that are due this week. There's your weekly assignment, which is due by the end of the week. And then there's also submission number 2 of your personal marketing package is due by the end of the week as well. So let's get into it. The topic this week is twofold. The first part is developing leadership skills, and the second part of the week is managing your personal finances. Leadership is an interesting thing to think about, especially in regard to this course, because it's easy to think, I'm a student, I'm going to be graduating soon, I'm just starting my career. Where does leadership come into it? But there's no better time than when you start out to start employing and displaying leadership skills. If you can show leadership skills right from the get-go as you start your career, it will affect your entire career. It will contribute to you being able to get promotions and just developing as a person and building on your career. So it is definitely something that you want to think about early in your career and think about working on those leadership skills. So this week we're going to touch base on that. The first thing you'll need to do is read chapter 7 of the textbook, which is developing leadership skills. I've put together some activities for you online as well. First of all, give some thought to a leader that you know. It's easy to think of leaders that we don't know, famous people, politicians or athletes or something like that. But what I'd like you to do is challenge yourself to think of somebody that you know that has good leadership skills. Maybe it's someone you worked with, or, maybe it's a teacher or a parent or something like that. And then also reflect on someone that has poor leadership skills. We've probably all bumped into somebody like that along the way at work or something like that. And think about the things that make them good leaders and things that make people poor leaders. And really give that some thought, because I think understanding both the good and the bad and why people are good leaders and why people are bad leaders can go a long way to helping you develop those skills. I've also put a link in there to a video it's a great video because they talk about right from the beginning of your career how you can show leadership and how that can really help springboard you into a rewarding career. Great video. And then there's also a link to an article at Indeed, and it's about taking initiative in the workplace. I think it's a really, really good article, so give that all a read and a go. And then we turn our attention to personal finances and why it's so important. Having your personal finances in order is is very, very important for a lot of reasons. Number one, if you're always worried about money, it's really hard to focus on your career. Whereas if you can get things in order of your personal finances, you can then, spend more time freely, concentrating on your job, concentrating on your career, concentrating on your life and your family. And so, getting yourself in order financially is very important. And it's also important for your career because especially in business, there are some jobs where you will have to undergo a credit check in order to work there. You want to work in like a bank or an insurance company or something like that. They're gonna want to do a credit check on you. Some government jobs, same thing. You want to work for the government, you're probably going to have to undergo a credit check. So it's important that you work on those things. And if your credit is poor right now, and I understand, I was a student once and my credit was terrible as a student. Then understand that there are ways you can fix it. There really are. There's a way out. Really working on it, concentrating on it, doing the right things is going to help you. And one of the first things you want to understand is a credit score, and it's a number that will be assigned to you between 300 and 900. The higher, the better. And I've put together our web or on our content this week a visual of this and kind of how it works. And then I've also included a link to an article called The 5 C's of Credit. I really stress that it's important that you give that a read and understanding the most important things that go into your credit score. And the number one thing that always things come back to is your past payment history. is the most important thing. So if you have poor credit, maybe it's because you weren't making your payments on your credit card or something like that. That's the first place to start. If you decide starting today, I'm going to fix my credit, I'm going to work on getting my credit in better shape. The number one way to do that is by making regular payments on your credit, and try to avoid just paying the minimum. Try to pay more than that if you can, and make those payments as regular as possible. That's the number one thing. But this article, The 5 C's of Credit, will let you know other factors that go into your credit score. And it's important to understand too the difference between a credit report and a credit score. A credit report is basically everything that has to do with credit view, where you've applied for credit, what credit you have, all that sort of thing. And then based on all those factors, all those things that are in your credit report, a credit score is generated for you, which is a 3-digit number, like I mentioned. So really take some time and take a look at the 5 C's of credit. And then I've also put in a link to the 5 biggest factors that affect your credit. And then also there's a link to a great article about how your credit history can affect your employment. Okay. And it's really important to know that. And so one of the things you're going to want to do as you're trying to get, your finances in order and stuff, is understanding that it's important to pay yourself first. And so I've included a link there to a great article about why you should pay yourself first. And then finally, I've included a link to a video on financial literacy and how important financial literacy is, and understanding that, especially in giving you the edge professionally. So that's our content for this week. Make sure you go through all that stuff, and don't forget, weekly assignment number 7 is in the week 10 folder. So make sure you get that, fill it out, submit it by the end of the week. And submission number 2 of your personal marketing package is due before end of day Friday. So make sure you get that all in. Okay. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. The easiest way, you can send me an email or a message through Blackboard, but what I would strongly recommend doing is, in Blackboard, I've also included a link that you can go to book an appointment with me. We can do a virtual appointment, and I can answer any questions that you have. Other than that, I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.